We don't show prep. So, so he had no idea.
I just barely make it in.
I'm sure you can tell, but we don't show prep.
I mean, let's put the cards down on the table here.
Miami Hurricanes, yeah. You know the name already. It's Mercy. Ha ha. It's a 6-Rig Kane show. Can't forget the name though. Got Jazz, Blue, Vision, DJ break the game code. Ain't no changing them, ain't no breaking them. Real Portland live from the Hard Rock Stadium. Ball 14 for the orange and green. We see the 6-Rig champs. There's more than a dream. This is life on the field. Beyond 100 yards, a hurricane that's never still put a damage to your squad. The 6-Rig Kane show. The 6-Rig Kane show. The 6-Rig Kane show. You know.
What's wrong with us? Seriously.
What's wrong with us? We're Miami Hurricanes fans.
Welcome to the 6-Rig Kane Show, a show dedicated to Miami Hurricane sports, featuring the legendary Larry Bluestein, Jazz Santana, Vish, and Danny Gillette. Let's go Canes.
If only you guys saw what the hell's going on in the background.
Oh no, I can see backstage. I saw that. I was like, do I need to pull you out of the stream?
I'm talking about the fans. If only whoever's gonna be watching this could see what the hell was going on.
Jazz was doing some last minute alterations. I was like, do I need to pull you out of the stream? And then
you guys want real and raw podcasting and fan-driven stuff? Look at this.
Look. We promised no show prep, and
we have certainly delivered.
We keep our promises to our fans, and
I'm definitely having.
You're having a 2024 has not gotten off to a great start in the technology realm for Mr. Sinclair over there.
Definitely not. But yeah, that's all right. It is what it is. Before my phone dies, because I don't even have my charger with me. Yeah. So obviously, big news today out of the transfer portal. The quarterback situation now starts to really get going, if you ask me, because as a lot of you already know, Cam Ward has decided to declare for the NFL. And he may have gotten a good draft grade. He may have gotten, some advice that led him to make that decision, right? So according to a lot of people, it's down in Miami or the NFL. And I think, some of us had spoken about it, and we kind of knew that was, a strong possibility that he ends up going to the league instead. And so, I've had some people ask me, wow, is he even can he even be drafted? Absolutely. The kid's going to get drafted, but, there was potential for him to make more money in college football with the NIL, staying one more year and possibly getting a better draft grade next year. So, but that's the case with Cam Ward. Vish and DJ, your take on the Ward situation. I'm just happy it's over. I think we've spoken about this ad nauseum already, how we don't think that he's the be-all, end-all anyways. Good player, but, I think there's a lot of other options out there that Miami could definitely go after, and I think that now the focus will be there. So I kind of want to get your take on how you feel, maybe how you feel the fans should feel about this, not how they are feeling, because God knows, it's a dumpster fire on Twitter and everywhere else.
Go ahead, DJ.
Well, I mean, you guys know me. I proclaimed myself last week as the conductor of the Cam Ward train, but yeah. At the same time, it's not that I think that Cam Ward going to the NFL is the be-all, end-all for Miami. But I also think that I feel like if we need to get a transfer portal quarterback, we need to do so extremely soon. I don't think the room is completely bare. We do have options, but, I mean, I am definitely leaning towards more of a transfer portal quarterback, and like I just said, the options are dwindling. So although Cam Ward's asking price may have been high, although he may have, had his faults, and he certainly did, Cam Ward off the board is now a little bit concerning, in my opinion, for Miami, because that's just another signal caller that's no longer in play here.
Well, you notice that a couple other guys went off the board right after him, right? DJ Uiagalelei ends up at FSU. KJ Jefferson was another guy that a lot of people had Miami looking at really hard. I mean, 2 seconds after everybody announced that, he committed to UCF as well. Both, I think, good moves for respective teams. However, it puts Miami in a position where, look, again, a lot of people are thinking, Vish, right? Oh, my gosh, now what do? They have nobody they can go after. All the good guys are signed. I don't necessarily agree with that, but this is something where, look, whichever way we try to spin it, it doesn't look good for the staff because it looks like they've whiffed a few times now again on the quarterback, right?
Yeah, it doesn't look good, but I do think, we're being consistent in that it felt like outliers.
Yeah.
In saying, look, this quarterback is not the end all be all. And any quarterback, this program is not where you guys think it is.
Right.
If you think one quarterback is going to elevate them into, playing in some of those bowl games that are happening tonight next year. Like, it's much more than a quarterback away from that. And we talked about that pretty extensively. So, and at the time we were doing that, I think we reasonably thought Cam Ward was going to be the quarterback. But you say, even if you get the guy you think is the end all be all, it's actually not that, because we're not that close yet. Like, we're not, this past season's narrative was written as we're a quarterback away. We're more than that. Not that the quarterback wasn't a problem, but it was more than that. And so now, I think you and I, Jazz, are probably a little bit calmer around this than everyone else is, because we didn't really necessarily believe that he was going to just single-handedly elevate the program. Now, with that said, to your point, now that once he committed, the other dominoes start committed to the NFL, obviously, but now the other dominoes start falling. Running back the current quarterback room is not an option.
No.
So while I'm okay that they missed on Cam Ward, I am not okay with going into the spring with Ja'Carri Brown, and then, an injured quarterback as the backup.
I completely agree.
Like, that's not. And then is Judd Anderson on campus yet, or is he going to be there for spring ball? Is it only?
Yeah, I think he comes in January.
So that'll be your quarterback room. Like, that's not acceptable. And that's actually the same problem we had this year. As bad as TVD was, we didn't have any backup options really either. No one wanted Emory Williams to have to play this year. He did because TVD was that bad. You're just running back a barren quarterback room. So I do need to go get someone that can reasonably consider a starting option. And I think that was always the case, and that's still the case.
I will say with this staff, though, it does seem like they take a while to do anything, whether it be getting a quarterback, staff moves from last year. It seems like they don't move quickly when it comes to making moves that they need to make. So I wouldn't exactly count out a move not being made yet, but they are a little slow on the uptake when it comes to both personnel and, granted, the shift from the previous year's coaching staff to this one was an outlier because, you don't want to replace your staff every year, but it does seem like, Mario and company are a little bit slow when it comes to making personnel decisions, whether it be on or off the field.
For me, this is what it tells me, right? What do you all usually think of when, someone's taking way too much time to make any decisions? What does that tell you, right? From a fan's point of view, from an outsider's point of view, where you're not in that office every day in the trenches with them, the view to me is, well, they can't make up their mind. They're indecisive. They really don't have a grip on things that are going. These guys were never really serious about coming to Miami. They must have struck it out, right? Like, that's the thought process. I'm not saying that's right, but that's the consensus. That's a view from the outside looking in, saying, well, they take their sweet time because they can't make up their minds. And we've all noticed that that's in real life. what happens if you take your sweet time with everything and you're indecisive? You lose out on potential opportunities, right? So, I don't know if that's necessarily the case. I think that maybe there's other things that are going on there that are good, right? They must be looking at someone else. They must be waiting for one specific guy to say something. Although the transfer portal closes any moment now, so you've got to make a move, because if not, then you're stuck waiting until after spring to potentially grab someone. I don't know. This is kind of a weird situation for me, for a lot of people. I'm not sure what's going on. I know that all their eggs were basically in the Cam Ward basket. So
right. So I'd like to get an opinion on that, though, because I mean, he's obviously getting killed for it now that Cam Ward's going to the NFL. If you've identified him as the top guy,
right?
I mean, obviously we stepped up to the plate with significant financial contributions to make that happen. I mean, based on what we're seeing, it sounds like he indicated and agreed, at least loosely, to the financial terms. So what exactly do you tell him? All right, if you don't tell me by date X, everything's off the table. We're going on to a quarterback we think is worse. Because I mean, so it's not as cut and dry as it's easy with 2020 hindsight now to say, oh, he should have told him to kick rocks after a certain period of time. And then watch Cam Ward commit to FSU today and see what the fans think about that, right? So we aren't the only school that waited around for this kid. And that's why DJU committed to FSU today afterwards, right?
But it does look like other schools had contingencies, right? They had
that's my thing.
They had DJU, right? DJU
yeah.
whatever the case was.
Right. But this is also about talent evaluation. Where do they view him? I don't know the answer to that.
Right.
So they might not view him as significantly better than what we have in the quarterback room. And now there's reports that they're looking at Malachi Nelson, who's obviously a much higher level recruit than anyone in their quarterback room right now. But less, doesn't have experience. So we were clearly plan A was to get someone in here with experience. But, if plan B is Malachi Nelson, you still significantly upgrade the talent in your quarterback room. Like, he's a player that's
just not the experience, right?
Right, doesn't have the experience, but now you're talking about, just a different level of talent than what we currently have in the room. Now, does it actually manifest on the field? Hell if we know. And that's why people wanted Cam Ward. He's put up numbers at the college level in a major conference. It's much easier than to say, okay, he can play, because 5-star recruits like Malachi Nelson bust all the time. So, but I mean, it looks like that's their next option now. It looks like Will Howard will probably go to Ohio State, but he hasn't committed anywhere yet.
Well, so then let's do this, right? Because obviously the next natural.
Well, here's another name that's coming out.
Right.
James
Let's
Madison,
talk about some of the names.
Jordan McLeod. Yeah.
Let's talk about some of the names that we are hearing or that are still in the transfer portal now, that not necessarily the ones that have come out. Because if you're looking at the Liberty Oregon game, I know that's a big game for some people who like a kid like Caden Salter, who's a lot of rumors here and there, but by the way, it's a kid I like too. But let's talk about some of the guys that are in the portal, right? Let's start out. Obviously, KJ Jefferson is gone as well. DJ Uiagalelei is gone. Some of the other top names that are still there: Malachi Nelson, Jordan McLeod. The kid over at Holy Cross, that wasn't Holy Cross, Matt Sluka. There's a couple other ones that I can't even remember now. I saw the list in front of me and now I can't, since I don't have my computer.
Well, yeah. Well, one of the things I will just in the comments I am reading your stuff as it goes across. By the way, it's actually very busy in there, so it's not easy to share everyone's comments like we sometimes do when we have 4 or 5 commenters. But hopefully, it's taught you a lesson in quote unquote reputable sources. The one thing I will say, Mario, it moves at a tortoise's pace. And it's very frustrating, and he manages his program like he manages the clock, and it can be very annoying. The one thing I will say for them is that his athletic program is locked tight. Shit does not get out of there.
Yeah.
It's always the information we're getting is always third or fourth party. Some of the previous staffs, it would come straight from the coaching staff. So you could lock it in a lot better. It's now like, well, I mean, there's a lot of the stuff for Cam Ward is coming from his parents, from his father, right? That's not the same thing as, Manny's staff. I'm not going to name names. There were certain people that he would call directly to get his stories out. I mean, this is very different how Mario does things. So just, I would say any rumor, whether it's positive or negative, is very much at best secondary or tertiary, because he is very good about kind of keeping stuff insular. It's how we only find out TBD's out, the Friday/Saturday of Clemson game when he couldn't even walk.
Which, by the way, he's already wearing a Wisconsin.
I saw that. That's a whole other thing.
Anyways,
no, but okay, so just for the rumors stuff, just like, look, until something is confirmed, because like the reputable sources at our program are not as dialed in as they used to be when that place used to leak like a sieve. And you just got to understand that, like, take everything a little bit of a grain of salt. To Mario's credit, actually, he does not let a lot get out of there.
Well, here's the issue I do have with that per se, okay? Because it could be on either side, right? So it's kind of a double-edged sword per se. So let's say you don't have much stuff leaked out, right? Let's say, but the sources are saying that, look, no matter what, Mario's got contingency plans, right? He's got 1A, 1B, 1C, 1, 2, 3, ABC, however you want to call it. He's got a plan. He's got all this going on. If one guy doesn't fall, if one guy falls through, he's got another guy. He's got another option. He's got all these options, right? And then when push comes to shove, and Cam Ward declares to the NFL, and now you just don't know what the hell's going on, right? Nobody knows what the hell's going on. I think it can go both ways, right? It can go, well, he really didn't have a contingency plan for what's going on, or all of that fell through, and now he's screwed because all the guys that wanted to come here, aka sources say, well, Howard wanted to come here, right? You got all this stuff. Now all of those guys are gone. So now he's stuck in a position where, he might have to go get someone else that wasn't really in the plans. Here's my thing, though. You can see that as two ways. Like I said, you see that, he wasn't prepared for this. He didn't make, and that's not typical Mario, right? He's always prepared for it. But we've kind of seen this already, right? Where he kind of strikes out on the quarterback position, or he takes too long to make a decision with the offensive coordinator, whatever the case is. We've kind of seen that for this specific position, it's like he overthinks it, right? That's the feeling. I'm not saying that's what it is, but then on the other side, it could be, well, this was his plan all along. So like there's a lot of mixed emotions when it comes to what's going on with the quarterback position. I will tell you one thing, though. And I know, Vish, we've spoken about this a lot. If you go into the season with JB as your starting quarterback, I think you're in a whole hell of a lot of trouble either way. This season could be frustrating for Canes fans and for the program, because I just don't think he's ready yet. I see some stuff. I see the development. See him getting better. I just don't think he's ready yet. And then you get in a position where, it could go wrong for you. It could not bode well for this program if you do that. You got to go get a quarterback, and you got to get a guy that's experienced. And yeah, you can go after a guy like Nelson as well. But to be quite honest with you, somebody on the chat posted really quick. I can't see it now, but somebody on the chat posted about how Oregon did. I think Oregon did a hell of a job, right? They went out and they got Dylan Gabriel and they got Dante Moore. So they got their experienced guy that can come in and keep this machine moving. And then they developed Dante Moore, who's potentially, another 5-star quarterback that can potentially come in, develop for a year, and then be the guy next year. So it's tough. I'm kind of frustrated. And I think a lot of Kings fans are frustrated as well at the fact that at this point, if you're going to have a quarterback that's going to come in and lead this team, you got to have him before the spring comes up, because if not, then you're kind of behind the 8 ball if you're bringing a guy after April for spring. after spring.
Yeah, no, you can't. Look, we need another quarterback in the room. And if we think JB is the guy, don't know if we lost Jazz permanently, but he's been having technical issues. But we think JB. Oh, he's back. If we think JB is the guy, he'll win the job anyway. So what are we worried about? We shouldn't be afraid of competition. What we lack right now is options.
Well, if we think, oh, sorry, Bish, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
If we think JB is the guy, then I think we might have problems in terms of evaluation. Like just like you guys mentioned, you guys talked about it earlier. The quarterback position is one that Mario so far at Miami has struggled to evaluate. If we believe that JB is the guy, then there's got to be something that they see in practice or some sort of development from spring to August or whatever in order to make me and probably other Canes fans feel comfortable with, Jakari starting under center come the opener. I mean, because because I don't know, to me, you have a bunch of transfer portal quarterbacks at the beginning of all this that were, highly touted, very good quarterbacks, very good players, and probably one of the deepest transfer portal quarterback classes in a while. If you don't recognize as a coach that you need depth in your quarterback room and you miss out on this opportunity to land a good quarterback, then to me, that's an evaluation issue because right now I don't feel comfortable with Brown starting against Florida.
Yeah, and it's a good point too. This next season opens at UF. And I cannot tell you how catastrophic it would be to open the season by losing to this low-rent version of Florida who stinks and is basically just too cheap to buy their head coach out. You cannot lose that game. And so, again, there's debate in the chat. Apparently, some people think JB sucks. Some people think he's awesome. To me, it doesn't matter. Like, he'll have a chance to compete for this job, but you need to have more options. Like Emory Williams is allegedly going to be okay for spring ball. We don't know that though. His arm broke in half. Like we all saw it on TV. Like he's not able to practice now. And I know there's no actual practice, but you're out of your mind if you think these kids aren't throwing. He's not. He's missing critical development time. That's your quarterback room? That can't be your quarterback room.
Not at all. No, absolutely not.
So I mean, if JB had gotten injured in the bowl game, the state of the quarterback room right now, and that's kind of my point. Like, if obviously you can get someone seasoned that start a lot of games, the expectation is they're going to come in and start. But if you end up with someone like Malachi Nelson, like, yeah, if JB's actually good, he'll compete for the starting job and beat him out. There's no way they're promising Malachi Nelson the starting job. Like, that's just not happening. Now, if it's if it's Will Howard, they probably would. You're definitely going to be starting. I mean, that's just the reality of it, right? So, at the very least, we need competition because right now it's really JB's going to be pretty much the guy in spring ball by himself at this point.
By the way, all right, let's make this clear because I see a lot of stuff.
Our boy is back in the portal. By the way,
yeah, that's the guy you want right there. There he is. Look,
he knows the school.
Let's make this clear, right? Bottom line is, I don't care who it is that you bring in, whether it's, whether Caleb Williams wants to come back another year, or you want to bring, I don't care who it is that you want to bring in. You want to bring in Michael Penix here, okay? Or you want to stick with Jakari Brown. Regardless of that, you're not going 13-0. You're not winning a national championship next year. You got a lot of other stuff that you've got to work on, right? You still need some wide receiver help because God knows that, after the showing from Jacoby George the last couple of weeks, there's a lot of immaturity there. There's a lot of issues with his play, and he's still not wide receiver one. As much as I like his play, I think he's a great he's a really good wide receiver. I just don't know if he's wide receiver one. We don't have a wide receiver one that can make these explosive plays. Thank God, believe it or not, thank God X is coming back because you also lost Rashard Smith. You lost Kobe Young, obviously, to Georgia. You lost Rashard Smith in the transfer portal. Jacoby George might be on his way out. Who knows what's going on there? Now, what are you going to do? You're going to depend on your 4- and 5-star wide receiver freshmen to come in and be the guys? I mean, that's tough, right? So you've got to go get that. We saw that we started our starting corners at safety, okay? We need help there. Collins Achiampong declared entered the transfer portal yesterday as well. Okay, that's another kid that could have developed into a big time defensive lineman potentially. You lose him. You lose some guys there to the league. You lose the linebackers. KJ Cloyd declared for the draft. You really only got one big time linebacker.
I mean, some of these, just running the numbers, some of these kids have to. There's still more that have to leave because we're over 85. So there's going to be even more leaving. To your point, Jazz. So like there are other holes.
There's a lot of safeties. Huge. We don't have any safeties right now.
No, we don't.
You know, Savion Riley may be a guy, but is he Cam Kitchens? Is he even James Williams? I don't know. I don't know that, right? So you still got a lot to do in the transfer portal, and you got to develop the guys that you have here in recruiting. But, you know, for anybody who thinks we're just going to go and rock with Ja'Carri Brown and win 12, 13 games, that's not going to be the case. He may not even win 9 or 10 games, right? He still needs development. But the same thing is going to go for a guy like Will Howard. He can win you 9 or 10 games. He might win you 11 games. It might be pretty good. But I think what everybody wants is, you know, immediate results, right? We want the quarterback to come in and we're going to the Natty this year. You know, 2024 is our year. It's not going to happen that way, right? We're still developing players. We're still, you know, a ways away. And for us to compare ourselves to anybody else, whether it's Ole Miss, whether it's what Georgia did with Kirby Smart when he first got there, what Nick Saban did when he first got at Alabama, I just think context is important and understanding what position and where those programs were at the times that were taken over by a new coach, by a new team, whatever the case was. I think that we can't expect everybody to be the same, right? We can't expect just because Braum did what he did at Louisville this year, but that's how every team is going to be, okay? But even with that being said, quarterback is still obviously it's the most important position in all of sports, right? So you got to get a good one, and he will help you win football games. But if you get one that's good but still has things that he needs to develop, he might lose you a couple of games, or he might not win you a couple of games either. So you got to be able to have a full team, a complete team, to be able to compete in this day and age, right? So I just think that we need to kind of temper our expectations.
Yeah, because the coaching has to get better too, right? I mean, it's across the board.
Absolutely.
It's not just the players; it's the coaching. And you know, I mean, we've talked endlessly about the game management issues. Like that cost us one game directly. It cost us a very good opportunity at winning the bowl game, just because he completely. I mean, he still got. Maybe he can call one of those timeouts down to slow the portal down. I don't know. He still got 2 of them he hung on to from the bowl game. Like, I mean, that's me obviously being sarcastic, but it's also not acceptable. And, you know, obviously the Georgia Tech one was like a clock management apocalypse, what happened there. But, you know, pretty chronic stealing points from the team and stealing opportunities to score from the team. That's costing you, you know, 3 to 6 points a game potentially. Even the end of the first half in the Pinstripe Bowl, everyone knows, like, at the end of the game, we ended up with running out of time when we still had 2 timeouts left because we didn't use them on defense. He also didn't use a timeout on defense at the end of the first half, and that's why after they egregiously overturned what looked like a touchdown, we had to kick the field goal on 2nd down. So, I mean, that was 4 points right there also that could have potentially been scored. So, you know, if you don't improve across the board, a quarterback's only going to do so much. And regardless of who it is, so there's still holes on the talent side. He cannot have his nephew playing left guard. I don't know what that was. That cannot be allowed to happen. Like, that's egregious. And so there's stuff that needs to be fixed that a quarterback by themselves is not going to fix. And we still need another quarterback, though. That's the reality of it. And I know there was frustration last year with how slow the offensive coordinator search went. I mean, we know that. Look, let's be blunt about this. Dawson was not plan A there. He was someone that we eventually landed on after striking out on several other guys. And as part of that, we did know that there was going to be some learning curve because Dawson had always worked under overbearing offensive head coaches. Like if you're working under Dana Holgerson and you're the offensive coordinator, you're not. You might be the offensive coordinator. You might be calling the plays. You're not really running what you want to run. But I do think it's important, as much as we might criticize this or that, because also Guidry had struggles in several games this year as well. It's important we maintain that consistency. We cannot continue to have revolving doors at the coaching position as well. They all just got to get better, and people are capable of improvement. So we got to hope the coaching staff elevates as well. But hopefully we have no coaches leave. We've had none of them leave so far. You need that stability at some point. We can't just keep shuffling the coaching staff here. It's part of the thing holding back our player development. So hopefully everyone comes back on the coaching staff. We kind of round out the roster a little bit here in the coming, with the portal, obviously. There's still another high school signing day as well, although most of the big chips are gone, although we got a good share of them, so that was good for us. But, still a lot of opportunity to infuse some talent here. And then hopefully with that consistency in coaching and not having to learn a new playbook, which they've had to do every year for the last 3 years, we do get a little bit better play. That's the goal, and that will elevate your record. Now, is it going to take us to 13-0 next year? No, but that is how you get to 9 or 10 wins.
You've got to, you don't want to do what FSU just did, right? Where they destroyed the transfer portal a couple years in a row, and now every player on their team this past year, basically, that got any significant playing time was a 4th, 5th, or 6th-year guy. And now they haven't developed any other players, and half of them are leaving anyway. So you don't want to put yourself in that position. You want to make sure that you get the right guys in the transfer portal, and you continue to develop your young talent and have them play. And I think Mario's doing a good job of that. It's just tough to see that you don't have a quarterback in place yet that you can kind of sit there and the whole everybody can feel comfortable saying that's our guy. Yeah, let's go win some ball games. Let's go kick some ass. So I think, unfortunately, it's going to take some patience. It's going to take some patience from us, from the fans, from everybody, before it's all said and done. I do expect Mario to do something quick, though. Eventually, I think that he's going to have to pull the trigger on one of the guys that he sees. And look, some of them can fit this program a lot better than maybe some other ones that are already gone. So I'm not, this is not the end of the world. I don't think this is the worst thing that could have happened to this team anyways this year. I think that, the plan is simple, man. It's go get a guy that can come in and win some ball games and lead this team and continue to develop the guys behind them. Malachi Nelson is a possibility. Jordan McLeod, I know a lot of people think he's short and whatnot and this, that, and the other. I don't really care how tall he is or how short he is. I need a guy that can come in, that has the numbers, that has the experience, and can come in and win some football games. Same thing goes for some of the other guys. I know there was a funky name there from a guy in Albany. I can't even remember his name. PZ or Reese Pendergraph or something like that. Anyways, who cares? Point is, go get yourself a quarterback, and start to learn the system with Coach Dawson. Hopefully Mario kind of stays out of his way as well, if you know what I mean. And we keep moving forward from there.
Well, I think one of the things, we're assuming, because Dawson actually, he's obviously from Mike Leach's school of offense, and rest in peace. He's actually talked pretty extensively about how he's deviated from Leach, and Leach told him, he's not really following the pure air raid. And I think we want to ascribe that to Mario. We know what brand of football Mario likes to play, so it's very easy to say, well, Dawson's not allowed to do what he wants. We have absolutely zero evidence of that. So, we're assuming that, Dawson actually doesn't want to run the football. He'd like to throw on every play. There's no evidence of that. And so I think some of this
I don't think that's true either, but I just don't think people understand his style of offense. So
no, but I think they want to see Mike Leach's offense from 30 years ago, which no one runs, and it's just if anything, I would say there were games where we got into trouble with Georgia Tech being one of them, where we didn't run enough, where he trusted TVD to throw too much. We clearly didn't have it. If you want to really be critical of, like, you're seeing a guy who can't hit the broadside of a barn and you're calling all these passing plays, just hand it to Fletcher and let him cook. What are you doing?
By the way, not for nothing, but, and I knew it, I kind of told y'all, Nico Aimaleava, whoo, that kid is the truth. Anyways, he's
good.
carving up Iowa
very
right
good.
now. He's a stud, man.
That
Tennessee's
Iowa
a really
defense
good
is
team.
But
not good either.
just, getting back to our quarterback room again, I think obviously we're familiar with DJU because he played at Clemson and then Oregon State, right? And then KJ Jefferson has bounced around too, but he's like a known name.
Right.
You could easily evaluate those players and say they're not a good fit and they're not a significant upgrade. Like, so just because those dominoes fell right after Cam Ward, like, if we had just, let me put it this way, if we had put a bag in front of DJU and he had committed a week ago to us because we basically paid him, I don't think our fans would have been happy with that. So now it's like, oh crap, give me something. I think we just got this happened a few hours ago that Cam Ward is going to the NFL. So it's too early to conclude that we're caught with, like, our heads up our asses.
Yeah.
So I think we just got to wait and see. Clearly, we weren't even going hard after any of the guys that committed afterwards. So we'll see. If we end up with no one else coming in, then it's pretty clear that we shoved all of our chips into the Cam Ward basket and lost, right? I mean, that's the reality if no one comes in. But let's see how they recover from this.
Yeah, I will say this, right? This is year 3. And year 3 is kind of a monumental year for a lot of coaches where, by year 3 you should have this thing kind of moving. It's, I guess it's unconventional to think otherwise. However, it's going to be important to go back and reevaluate this after. If you don't get yourself a really good quarterback or a solid guy after 3 years in a program, I think it's going to be important that he does land that guy that we feel could be the future of this program. If not, you might be stuck in the same cycle again. And I know that nobody wants to hear that, but it's the ugly truth. It's the reality of things in college football. So, Martin's got to nail this, hit it, on the head here with the transfer portal, get a guy that can come in and win some ball games. And hopefully that next stable of quarterbacks, whether it's Judd, whether it's Luke Nickel in a couple of years, whether it's JB in a couple of years as well, if he sticks around, they got to come on. They got to have good quarterback play, and if they want to compete for national titles and be in these playoffs, in the next couple of years. So we'll see what happens there. We will be back on the show. We will be back on next week, next Monday. Happy New Year, by the way. Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year, everyone.
Thanks for joining us. If you all have any names that you're interested in, or if you're interested in any information, make sure you just hit us up on Twitter at 6RingsCanes with any of your questions or concerns. We'll do the best we can to follow up and get as much information as possible. But to be quite honest with you, this is an interesting time here for Miami Hurricanes football.
National championship next Monday too.
Yeah. Tonight is going to be fun too. I think 2 good matchups. So all the other games so far have been ass whoopings aside from the LSU Wisconsin game. So that's been a pretty good one. So
it's the TVD presence on the sideline wearing his Wisconsin jersey that has inspired the troops there. Clearly,
that's what it is.
As it did for us for so many years. It's good someone else is getting that benefit.
Right, because he's such a vocal leader. Anyways,
his leadership skills off the chart. He's
unbelievable. Anyways, and hopefully I'll have a computer again by next.
I know.
So weird.
This was a little weird, yeah.
It is weird. But follow us on Twitter at 6RingsCanes. Make sure you check us out on the podcast as well. 6RingsCanes. Subscribe to the podcast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever it is that you get your podcast. Make sure you check that out. Subscribe to the 6RingsCanes on the it's actually 5 Reasons Sports YouTube channel. Make sure you go in there, check us out, find us there, 6RingsCanes, and subscribe and hit the like button. We love to see you guys active in the chat. kind of talking smack to each other. And look,
And to us.
we're all and
Oh, yeah.
yeah. Look, we're all in this. We're all
Yeah.
fans as well. So we love the University of Miami. We want to see them get the right guy, whoever it is, and and hopefully right the ship and get it going in the right direction again and start winning some more ball games. So that's what it's all about, and we'll see if that happens soon. Stay tuned, and if we have any breaking news or information, we'll bring it to you. So make sure you guys keep it locked.
And also basketball, we do buckets. We're got a show tomorrow. Huge game with Clemson on Wednesday
right.
to open ACC play.
That's
Jasmine will
right.
be there in person. We're going to do a post game too later in the middle of the night at some point.
Maybe you will with your laptop, unless I have mine.
Well, no, I mean Matt and I are doing buckets at some
Yeah.
point. He's in Cal. I bet that I am between Melissa working at night, so she's like on a weird schedule, and Matt being in California. I am doing some late nights buckets, man. The East Coast is killing me here. I'm getting outnumbered.
Oh boy.
Hopefully, you're feeling better by the next show, Jazz.
Yeah, no, I'm good. It's just my allergies are kicking my ass today, and I'm in my new room, as you can see. I got the.
I know you got the whole setup, and then you bricked your computer.
It's getting there. It's getting there. You see, you got it back there and stuff. It's getting there. It's getting there. So we'll see. We'll see you guys. We'll see you guys next week.
The 6 Rig Kane Show. Yeah. The 6 Rig Kane Show. Yeah. The 6 Rings Kane Show. You know,